It is an absolute pleasure to welcome author Daisy Heaven to our series of author interviews. Welcome, Daisy, who is based in Mackensons, Newfoundland, Canada. And thank you so much for taking the time to share your book, which is called Leaning Tree, with teachers here in the UK. But before we go into your book, please tell us a little bit more about yourself. How did you come to write children's books?
Thank you for that lovely introduction. Leaning Tree, like many stories, came from a little bit of a dark place. I had heard a news story about several children that were very sad. They were depressed and didn't have hope. So I took to contemplating what I could do as a writer to help these children or future children through other times that maybe our lives aren't so happy, and maybe we don't have all of the things that we want to have. Maybe we don't have hope. And Leaning Tree is a story that I believe gives us that. So that's where it all started.
So can you just explain whether or not your book applies to younger children or older children? What age group would you think would best access Leaning Tree?
Leaning Tree as a story that's read to children could be appropriate for a child from ages 3 all the way up to a child of maybe 12, because the verbiage and the language used in the story is not limited to a younger child, and the message applies all across. In fact, I've had many parents that have purchased the book saying this is so significant even in their lives.
As you know, Reading for Pleasure is very high on the agenda here in the UK. And we know that through research, it's been found that Reading for Pleasure raises attainment across the board. So children who read and enjoy reading tend to do well in other subject areas as well. We as teachers have got to balance Reading for Pleasure with Reading for Understanding. And it would be nice to hear from you how you see your book best placed within a classroom setting in terms of developing comprehension skills.
Leaning Tree is a fabulous fit. I've noticed as I've assisted in homeschooling my granddaughters that there's a new consciousness. We believe that our children have a bit of a spiritual being, and we have to nurture that in order to help them to succeed in their education. I see, deep breathing and yoga, and that is where Leaning Tree is. Leaning Tree helps our little people to embrace their uniqueness, their specialness, and to nurture that, believe in their identities. So that's really where it fits. And I love that our education systems today see that that's a part of the holistic part of learning.
Excellent. So I'm hearing lots of cross-curriculum links to PSHE, which is all about the development of social skills, health and emotional well-being. So it sounds to me that your book falls under that umbrella. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. So I think without further ado, it would be wonderful to hear you read an extract of your book, Leaning Tree.
Okay, I'm just going to grab a little excerpt here, and I'll try and show you a bit of the book. The rains they came, the tree did grow, but upward it aimed, to the sky it would go. Its trunk grew fast, and its core was strong. But the direction was off, something was wrong. Instead of heading off up to the sky, its trunk was slanted off to the side. As time went on, the tree grew fast, but no one thought it would ever last. This tree was different, it was clear to see, but Leaning Tree was glad just to be. It lived in the grove with father and mother, aunties and uncles, sisters and brother. Leaning Tree pushed harder as it grew, but moving that rock it just couldn't do. Tree's roots spread out still further around, entwining with family roots, strong and sound. Then one day, the wind turned wild and fierce. Silence was broken by thunder's pierce.
Thank you so much. What a lovely storyline. And straight away, such amazing metaphorical language. And I can straight away, you know, the way you personified the tree, there's much there to explore, both in terms of looking at figurative language and the meaning behind that. The images, the illustrations are stunning. And you know, such links to nature as well. So we really appreciate you sharing your book, Leaning Tree, with us. As always, it's always a pleasure to hear the author's voice behind the children's books. Finally, can you just share with us, where can we purchase Leaning Tree here in the UK?
Leaning Tree is available on Amazon. So, you know, just type Leaning Tree Daisy Heaven into your search and you'll find it.
Excellent. We look forward to hearing more about your books as your writing journey continues, Daisy. And we will make sure we place links for purchasing Leaning Tree in this video. Thank you so much for joining ReadMaster for UK Teachers, home of the author's voice. Thank you, Daisy.
Thank you.